Hey there, I'm Randy Zimnoch, and in this episode, we're going to talk about 2 ways that flippers can benefit from short-term rentals. Let me start with what is a short-term rental to begin with. Short-term rental is any property that's being rented for 29 days or less. And maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. However, it's here. It's becoming very popular. Short-term rentals are popping up everywhere. And it's really thanks to Airbnb, I would say. They kind of led the way in just the whole house sharing industry popularity, right? Now there's platforms that are popping up everywhere, including Booking.com, Expedia. They're jumping on board and are now offering short-term rental opportunities to vacationers, corporate people. So it's really becoming this movement, I would say, right? It's a whole new asset class in real estate. It's exciting, and I'm around it because of my good friend Eric. So that's why I want to talk about it, because I'm benefiting from it as an investor and an agent. There is also a lot of controversy around it. So maybe you heard that part of it, right? With the laws being passed, cities don't know how to keep their handle on this, right? And how do we contain this? There's just too many short-term rentals now. So in this episode, I'm actually going to focus on the flippers and how the short-term rental is benefiting the investor industry, right? So there are 2 ways that I found so far. One is leveraging the short-term rental income projection reports. You might be thinking, okay, that's long. What is that? Simply, all it is, it's imagine what we're used to, the long-term leases, right? If I asked you and say, hey, what can your apartment rent for long-term per month? What is that, right? Can you then put that on paper for me and give me a 2-page report of that income for that long-term lease? Well, I'm doing the same exact thing, but with a short-term rental. And now there's actually software. One of them, I could tell you, it's DNA, Airbnb DNA. I don't know, one of them. There's a software for it that actually allows you to almost build a CMA. Like realtors have multiple listing service and we could create comps. Now there's software for short-term rental projections, right? And it looks at all these algorithms, right, behind the scenes from different platforms, Airbnb and all the other ones, VRBO, and it pulls the data, aggregates it, and then gives me a CMA of what my specific property that I'm potentially selling for an investor, right? Or if you're an investor watching this that you own, right? You can plug that in and it will spit out the projection of income that your property can generate per month, per year, right? And that to me is so awesome. Why? Is because that projection just for standard is about 2 to 3 times higher than your regular long-term lease income. Think about that. 2 to 3 times higher. That's a lot. So if you're renting your place right now that you're living in and you're paying $1,000, that same unit can generate $2,000 to $3,000 per month. So imagine if you're an investor now and you rehabbed your home, it's beautiful, it's renovated, and now you have this additional report that you give your realtor that shows the projection that's through the roof. It will make your house more valuable. It will actually support a higher value on your house that you just flipped. So it's awesome. It's an awesome leverage tool. The second thing that short-term rental benefits the investors with is especially in a slowdown. When the market is slowing down, maybe you've watched some of my episodes that talked about this last year. We experienced this. We had a slowdown in San Diego. And one of my agents, who also is a flipper, he actually took his property off the market that he was flipping and started renting it on short-term rental databases, Airbnb, right, that we're all familiar with. And he was literally able to ride that slowdown for about 4 months and then came back on the market beginning of this year and sold the property, right? So instead of losing money, he ended up being able to actually make money for those 4 or 5 months and ride out the slowdown. And it's amazing. Just think about that. Either you can panic and sell it and lose money, or you say, wait, let me do a short-term rental with it and actually make money. Because remember what I said, it's 2 2-3 times the rental income of a long-term yearly lease, right? And interestingly, another thing that I have happened in my office, one of my agents also is a flipper. She bought a house that she was going to, fix and make it beautiful and then sell. She decided to keep it as a short-term rental because I actually had Eric, who I mentioned in the beginning, who's a good friend of mine, who is basically studying this whole short-term rental industry now for years. He's been speaking to my agents. He's been speaking to my investor clients, right, about this whole industry and this movement, right? So she was able to take that education and she was like, wait a minute, that's a lot of money. Let me test this out on this flip. She kept the flip, and this was last year. She still owns this flip because she's making bank. I mean, she's making literally $5,000, $10,000 a month net, right, after expenses off this flip that she was going to flip. And now it's no longer a flip. It's a whole property. Short term though. So it's just amazing just to watch this, right? And have, be connected to it because of my friend Eric Moeller that I, been friends with now, man, for years, from my New Jersey years. That's where I met him. And now he's here in San Diego and he's doing this, he's studying this. He's literally tried all kinds. He's tried a short-term rental from owning your own properties, right? Like many of you investors might be owning. He's tried it with subleasing where he would sublease a property and then short-term rental it himself. And the most recent and most profitable, I would say, out of all of them is co-hosting. And it's simply co-managing someone else's property or managing someone else's property, right? It's amazing. I've been watching this. So it's cool because it's very timely because he's actually doing a masterclass on this. And that's why I'm excited. That's why I'm talking about it, because it's benefited me in so many ways. And I want you to just learn about it and see how you can apply this in your business as an investor, right? Because literally I've seen him make $5,000 to $10,000 per property that he's got multiple, right? And you can do this remotely. I'm been mind blown. So anyway, that's why I'm talking about it. There's massive benefit to you as an investor. He's doing this masterclass. I think it's a 2 or 3 part series that's coming up within the next couple days or so. Maybe when you're watching, it's already on. But bottom line, if you want to see it, visit randyzimnoch.com/STR.